All right, so you want to get better at understanding English. We're going to dive into that today.
Yeah.
It's something I know a lot of you are working on.
Yeah, getting those listening skills sharp.
Like razor sharp.
Yeah, for sure.
And we've all been there, right? You're in a conversation.
Oh, yeah.
And people are talking fast.
Uh-huh.
And all of a sudden you realize
You have no idea what they said.
you've missed like half of it.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating.
It really is.
But
Right.
what if I told you that we could unlock a shortcut
Oops.
to understanding English like a native speaker?
Okay, I'm listening.
Today we're going to go deep on a podcast episode.
Okay.
All about this, improving those listening skills.
Yeah.
But we're going to go beyond the basics.
Right.
We're going to uncover the most impactful techniques
I like it.
and intriguing insights from this episode.
I'm excited.
So what I thought was so fascinating about this material
Mm-hmm.
is that they go beyond the how-to.
Yeah.
And they really dig into the why. Yeah.
Of listening's crucial role in language learning.
That's really cool.
I
huh?
love that.
Yeah.
And they have this brilliant analogy,
Okay.
comparing it to learning to drive.
Right.
You wouldn't just read the driver's manual and expect to ace your road test, would you?
No, definitely not.
No.
You got to get behind the wheel.
You got to actually do it.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to get behind the wheel, feel the car respond,
Right.
and navigate real-world situations.
Totally.
Language learning is very similar. Immersing yourself
Yeah.
in the sounds,
Yeah.
rhythms,
Yep.
the natural flow of English.
Yeah.
That's what helps your brain truly grasp the nuances of the language.
That's a really good point.
It's like absorbing the music of the language,
I like that.
which then becomes the foundation for everything else.
It makes sense. Yeah.
But you know what?
Okay.
There are deeper
Okay.
cognitive benefits at play here too.
Oh, interesting.
When you listen,
You're not just passively hearing the sounds.
right?
You're actively engaging your brain in a way that strengthens neural pathways associated with language processing.
Cool.
So it's like you're building a mental muscle for comprehension.
Like almost working it out.
Totally.
Yeah.
So if you're picturing yourself effortlessly following conversations, cracking jokes in English,
Oh yeah.
or maybe even delivering a killer presentation,
I like it.
it all starts with these listening skills.
It really does.
And now,
Yeah.
let's get to the nitty-gritty
All
of
right.
the techniques.
Okay.
This podcast episode that we're diving into today
Right.
presents 6 key strategies.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to kind of dissect each one.
Yeah, let's break it down.
Let's kick things off with a technique that sounds simple,
Right.
but it's incredibly powerful.
What is it?
Active listening.
Okay.
So it's about being fully present and engaged
Well-
with what you're hearing.
Not just letting it go in one ear and out the other.
Right, not just letting the words wash over you.
Exactly.
So how do we actually make active listening an active process?
Yeah, that's the question.
It's easy to say, pay attention,
Right.
but what does that look like in practice?
Exactly, yeah.
So really it's about consciously focusing
Okay.
on the speaker's message, their tone,
Yeah.
and even how they structure their sentences.
Oh, wow.
So think of it as piecing together a puzzle.
Okay.
You're gathering information from the words, the intonation, the
Yeah.
context
Yeah.
to construct a complete picture
Okay.
of the meaning.
Interesting.
I really like that analogy.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It makes active listening sound more like a detective game
Uh-huh.
than a chore.
Right.
So, do you have any tips
Yeah.
on how our listener can practice this?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Try this.
Okay.
Listen to a short English news clip, maybe something from the BBC or CNN.
Right.
And afterward,
Yeah.
try summarizing the key points to a friend
Oh, that's good.
by explaining it to someone else.
Yeah.
You're forcing yourself to actively process and internalize the information.
That's a great exercise.
I think so too.
It turns listening into an interactive challenge,
Yeah,
which makes it more engaging.
for sure.
All right. What's next?
Next up, we have subtitles,
Subtitles.
which often get a bad rap,
Yeah.
but this podcast argues for their strategic use.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
So there's this misconception that subtitles are a crutch,
Right.
but they can be a powerful tool when used strategically.
Okay.
So the idea is to initially use subtitles as a guide to help you grasp the overall meaning
Right.
and get familiar with the sounds of new words.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Then,
Yeah.
as your comprehension grows, challenge yourself
Okay.
to switch those subtitles off
All right.
and rely solely on your ears.
Okay. But wouldn't relying on subtitles prevent you from fully developing those listening skills?
That's a good point.
It's like taking the easy way out, right?
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
But that's why it's about strategic use.
Uh-huh.
Think of it as training wheels for your ears.
Ah, okay.
You wouldn't ride a bike with training wheels forever.
Right.
But they can be helpful when you're first learning to balance.
Yeah.
Subtitles can be that temporary support system to ease you into the flow of spoken English.
Okay.
But the ultimate goal is to be able to listen and comprehend without them.
I like that. So start with the support.
Yeah,
and then gradually wean yourself off until you're writing solo.
exactly.
And hey, for a fun twist,
Okay.
why not watch a familiar movie dubbed in English?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Since you already know the plot,
Yeah,
you can focus more on the language itself.
that's smart.
Yeah.
I like that.
So now this next technique
Mhm.
is one that I personally find super exciting.
Oh, I'm excited.
Embracing
Yeah.
the incredible diversity of English accents.
Yes.
Absolutely.
This is fun.
The English-speaking world is so vast.
It really is.
With this tapestry of accents from every corner of the globe.
Wow.
Think British,
Yep.
American,
Wow.
Australian,
Oh.
Indian, South African.
Oh, yeah.
The list goes on.
Yeah.
Exposing yourself to this variety isn't just about understanding different ways of speaking.
Right.
It's about opening your ears to the richness and cultural depth of the language.
That's a good point.
It's like a linguistic adventure,
I like it.
discovering all the different flavors of English.
That's cool.
And it's not just about language.
Oh.
It's about cultural understanding and even career opportunity.
Oh, wow.
Imagine being able to connect with people from diverse backgrounds,
Right.
understand their perspectives,
Yeah.
and navigate international communication with ease.
That'd be awesome.
It's a valuable skill in today's interconnected world.
For sure.
So, how would you suggest our listener goes about exploring this world of accents?
Yeah. YouTube is an amazing resource for this.
Okay.
You can find channels dedicated to English learning from various countries, often featuring native speakers who break down pronunciation,
Oh,
slang,
uh-huh.
and cultural nuances.
That's awesome.
For instance,
Yeah.
have you ever heard of the Irish comedian Dara O'Brien?
I have not, no.
He's hilarious.
Okay.
And his accent is a delightful challenge to decipher,
I bet.
or for something more educational.
Okay.
Try the BBC Earth channel.
Okay, I've heard of that one.
Their documentaries are visually stunning,
Yes, they are.
and they're narrated in beautiful British English.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to a technique that might sound intimidating at first,
Hello.
but it's incredibly effective.
All right, I'm ready.
Shadowing.
Shadowing.
So shadowing is like karaoke for language learning,
Oh, okay.
and it can be a game changer for your listening and pronunciation skills.
Cool.
So imagine
Yeah.
listening to a native speaker and simultaneously mimicking their every word,
Oh, wow.
their tone,
Okay.
their pace.
That sounds hard.
It might feel awkward at first,
Yeah, probably.
but that's where the magic happens.
Okay.
It sounds intense,
It does.
like trying to keep up with a professional athlete.
Right.
Why is this technique so effective?
Well,
Yeah.
by mimicking, you're essentially forcing your brain
Yeah.
to process the sounds of English more deeply.
Okay.
You become more attuned to the subtle nuances of pronunciation,
Huh.
the rhythm, the intonation,
Yeah.
and this helps you internalize the patterns of the language.
Okay.
Think of it as stepping into the shoes of a native speaker,
I see.
feeling the language come alive in your own mouth.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
It makes shadowing feel more like an exciting challenge than a daunting task.
Right.
So, any tips on how to get started?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't feel like you need to jump into Shakespearean monologues right away.
Oh, good point.
Start small.
Okay.
Maybe it's the chorus of your favorite English song
Uh-huh.
or a memorable line from a movie. As you get comfortable,
Yeah.
gradually increase the complexity and length of what you're shadowing.
Cool.
Remember, it's about building confidence
Uh-huh.
and celebrating those little wins along the way.
I like that.
Yeah, okay.
All right, what's next?
I'm ready to give shadowing a try.
Awesome.
Now on to technique number 5,
Right.
which I think a lot of people will
And
appreciate.
I'm sure they will.
Chunking audio.
Chunking audio.
This one is all about making overwhelming content manageable.
Okay.
We've all been there.
Oh, yeah.
You put on a podcast
Uh-huh.
or start an audiobook,
Yeah.
and suddenly realize you're completely lost.
Happens all the time. It's easy to feel discouraged when faced with a mountain of information.
It's a lot.
It's like trying to eat an entire cake in one sitting.
You get a stomachache.
It's too much.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Yeah.
chunking audio
Okay.
is about breaking that cake down into bite-sized pieces.
Much more manageable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So instead of trying to conquer a whole hour-long podcast,
Right.
isolate a smaller segment,
Okay.
maybe a 30-second chunk,
All right.
listen to it intently, replay it if needed,
Yeah.
and try to grasp the meaning of every word and phrase.
Good idea.
Then, once you feel confident, move on to the next chunk.
Makes a lot of sense.
It's a much more digestible and rewarding approach.
Totally.
So it's like creating a staircase to the top of that mountain, making the climb much more manageable and less daunting.
I like it.
And finally,
Figured rise
it's at the cornerstone of any successful language learning journey,
Ooh, this is important.
building a consistent listening habit.
Consistency is key.
This is where we separate wishful thinking from actual progress.
Right.
You can have all the techniques in the world,
Yeah.
but without consistency, you're unlikely to see significant improvement.
For sure.
It's not about cramming hours of listening into one day
Right.
and then forgetting about it for a week.
Yeah.
It's about weaving small,
Yeah.
sustainable efforts into your daily routine.
Hold by a little.
It's more about consistency than intensity.
That's true.
It's like going for a brisk walk every day rather than running a marathon once a month.
That's a great analogy.
And the beauty is that you can effortlessly integrate listening practice into your daily life.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So listen to a 15-minute podcast during your commute.
Okay.
Watch an English language news segment while you eat lunch, or wind down with an audiobook before bed.
Nice.
These seemingly small pockets of time can add up to significant progress over time.
It's crazy how much it can add up.
I love those ideas.
Me too.
It's about finding those little opportunities that already exist in your day and making them work for your language goals.
I like that.
But let's be honest, sometimes finding the motivation can be tough.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where the power of enjoyment comes in.
Ah, yes.
Learning is most effective when it's fun.
It's true.
So rather than forcing yourself to listen to something you find boring,
Right.
connect your listening practice with something you genuinely enjoy.
Good idea.
Are you a true crime enthusiast?
Uh-huh.
Find an English language true crime podcast.
Okay.
Fascinated by history.
Yeah.
Explore documentaries or historical dramas.
Awesome.
The key is to turn language learning into a personal adventure,
Right.
not a chore.
I like that.
That's such an important point.
It really is.
It's about making language learning a part of your life, not just another task on your to-do list.
Sure.
We've covered a lot of ground here. From the foundational importance of active listening to breaking down audio into manageable chunks.
Right.
We've also explored the value of embracing diverse accents and weaving listening practice into your daily life through a variety of resources.
So many resources.
But before we wrap up this part of our deep dives, there's one more important aspect to consider.
What's that?
The vast world of resources that can amplify your listening skills.
Cool.
So we were just talking about how important it is to actually enjoy the process of improving your English listening skills.
Right.
And that brings us to the exciting part.
Okay.
Exploring the incredible resources out there
Oh, yeah.
that can make this journey both effective and fun.
It's like opening a treasure chest.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's like having a whole library of tools at your disposal, each one designed to sharpen different aspects of your listening comprehension.
Right, like different tools for different jobs.
Exactly. Yeah. And this podcast episode we're dissecting does a great job of highlighting a few key categories.
Podcast.
YouTube, language learning apps, and music.
Cool.
But I know what you're thinking.
What?
With so many options, where do you even begin?
Right.
That's where the deep dive comes in.
Okay.
We're going to break down each resource category,
Right.
share insights and specific recommendations to help you navigate this world
I like it.
and find the tools that resonate with you.
Yeah, that's important.
Okay. Let's start with podcasts.
Podcasts.
I have to admit, I'm a bit biased here.
Oh, why?
Because I'm a podcast fanatic.
I love podcasts too.
But seriously, they're a language learner's goldmine.
They really are.
What's brilliant about podcasts is the sheer variety
It's amazing.
You can find shows on literally any topic imaginable.
Yeah, whatever you're into.
From science and history to pop culture, business, and even personal growth.
It's incredible.
This means you can choose podcasts that genuinely interest you,
Right.
making the learning process feel less like work and more like a hobby.
Exactly.
Because who wants to force themselves to listen to something they find boring?
No one.
It's like trying to eat your vegetables when you'd rather have dessert.
Coerced.
The learning sticks so much better when you're actually enjoying the content.
For sure.
And this podcast episode we're analyzing highlights a couple of excellent options specifically designed for English language learners.
Oh.
One is The English We Speak by the BBC.
The BBC?
Which focuses on everyday expressions and idioms.
Oh, that's helpful.
It's a great way to pick up those subtle nuances of the language that can really boost your comprehension.
Right. Oh, I've listened to that one.
Have you?
They have these really short, fun episodes.
That break down common phrases in a way that's easy to remember.
That's awesome.
It's like getting a quick language lesson sprinkled into your day.
Little bite-sized pieces.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And another recommendation from the source material is All Ears English, which is known for its clear explanations of grammar and pronunciation.
Oh, cool.
What's great about this podcast is that the hosts speak in a natural, conversational style.
Right.
So you get a feel for how English is actually used in real-life interactions.
Yeah, that's so important.
It's like having a chat with friends who happen to be grammar experts.
The best kind of friends.
But podcasts aren't the only game in town, right?
It too.
What else is there?
YouTube is another incredible resource.
Oh, YouTube.
And this podcast episode encourages us to explore it fully.
Totally.
YouTube is a treasure trove of learning opportunities.
It really is.
And what I find particularly valuable
is the visual element.
Oh, yeah.
So many channels use animations, illustrations, and real-life footage to bring language to life.
That makes it so much more interesting.
Making it more engaging and memorable.
Totally.
There are countless channels dedicated to teaching grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, and even cultural insights.
It's amazing.
I've stumbled upon some fantastic channels that break down complex grammar concepts in a way that finally makes sense to me. Cool. It's like having a personal tutor right there on my screen.
I love that.
And I love how many of them incorporate humor and real-world examples, which makes the learning stick so much better.
It really does.
And don't forget about the power of TED Talks.
Oh, TED Talks are great.
These mini lectures on fascinating topics are often delivered in beautifully clear and engaging English.
Totally.
They're a fantastic way to expose yourself to more formal styles of speaking.
Expand your vocabulary and gain insights into a wide range of subjects.
They really are a great resource.
I'm a huge TED Talk fan.
Me too.
I find myself getting completely absorbed in the talks.
Yeah.
And without even realizing it, I'm picking up new words and phrases.
Right.
It's learning disguised as entertainment.
I love that.
And speaking of learning disguised as entertainment, this podcast episode we're deep diving into also mentions language learning apps.
Language learning apps.
Now, I know some people are skeptical of apps,
but
I think they can be really effective.
Yeah.
Especially for structured practice and building a solid foundation.
Totally.
I've tried my fair share of language learning apps.
Oh, yeah.
And I have to agree.
Yeah.
They can be really helpful, especially for practicing vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation in a systematic way.
It's nice to have that structure.
Yeah.
The podcast lists apps like Duolingo.
Duolingo.
Babbel. And ELSA Speak.
ELSA Speak.
As examples. These apps typically offer a combination of listening, speaking, reading, and writing exercises.
Yeah, it's good to get all of them in there.
Allowing you to develop a well-rounded skill set.
Right.
And many of them have features like personalized feedback and progress tracking, which can be really motivating.
It's encouraging to see how far you've come.
I like how a lot of these apps gamify the learning process.
Oh, yeah.
Making it feel more like a challenge than a chore.
Right.
It's like leveling up your language skills one game at a time.
I love that. Yeah.
And before we move on, let's not forget the power of music.
Music. music.
It's so powerful.
One of the most enjoyable and effortless ways to learn a language.
Yeah, absolutely.
The podcast episode suggests listening to songs and reading their lyrics simultaneously.
Oh, this helps you connect the written word with the spoken word.
That makes sense.
Improving both your vocabulary and your pronunciation.
I like it.
It's like having a built-in language tutor disguised as your favorite artist.
It's the best of both worlds.
I find myself singing along to English songs all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And without even trying, I'm absorbing new words and phrases.
It just seeps in.
It's amazing how music can bypass those mental barriers we sometimes put up when we think of something as studying.
Right, it doesn't feel like work.
And don't be afraid to explore different genres.
Oh, for sure.
You might just discover your new favorite band. While expanding your English vocabulary.
That's awesome.
I love that this deep dive is making me realize that there are so many creative and engaging ways to enhance our English listening skills.
Yeah, so many options.
It's not about being confined to textbooks and drills.
Right.
It's about finding resources that spark our curiosity and make the learning process a joy.
Exactly.
And that's the key takeaway here.
What is it?
The world is overflowing with resources.
Yeah.
The real magic lies in finding the ones that resonate with you.
Right.
The ones that fit your learning style, your interests, and your goals.
It's all about personalization.
Remember, language learning is a personal journey, and it should be an enjoyable one.
It really should be.
I'm feeling so inspired.
Me too.
But we're not done yet.
Okay.
We've explored the whys of listening, the how-tos, and even uncovered a treasure trove of resources. Right. Now, let's bridge the gap between knowledge and action.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, so we've covered so much ground in this deep dive.
We really have.
We've explored the reasons why listening is so crucial for language learning.
Yeah.
We've gone deep into those specific techniques to enhance your comprehension skills.
Right.
And we even uncovered a treasure trove of resources to make this journey both effective and enjoyable.
It's been fun.
But now comes the most important part.
Okay.
Putting it all into action.
Right. That's the key.
So it's like having all the ingredients for a delicious meal.
Okay.
You've gathered the finest produce, the most aromatic spices, and a well-worn recipe. But the true magic happens when you combine those elements and create something truly flavorful.
I like it.
So let's imagine our listener is back in that situation we talked about earlier, a fast-paced conversation where they used to feel lost and overwhelmed.
Right.
But this time, armed with these new techniques and insights, something shifts.
Oh, cool.
They're actively engaged, picking up on those subtle cues, and maybe even contributing confidently to the conversation.
I love it.
That's the power of honing your listening skills.
It's amazing what a difference it can make.
And think about the ripple effects this can have on your overall communication. Improved listening leads to better understanding, which in turn fuels more effective and confident speaking.
That makes sense.
Imagine being able to express yourself with clarity.
Yeah.
Connect with others on a deeper level and navigate the complexities of the English language with ease.
That's the dream.
That's a future worth striving for. It's like a chain reaction. Better listening skills unlock better speaking skills.
Right.
Which then unlock a whole world of possibilities for connection and communication.
Love it.
So how do we help our listener take that first step?
Okay, good question.
And make these changes stick?
So it starts with a commitment to action.
Okay.
No matter how small.
Right.
So think about your current English learning routine. What's one tiny adjustment you can make today to incorporate more active listening?
Maybe it's committing to just 15 minutes of podcasting during your commute. Or perhaps it's choosing to watch an English language news segment while you eat lunch instead of scrolling through social media.
Good idea.
Or maybe it's finally giving that shadowing technique a try.
Right,
even for a few minutes with your favorite song.
Awesome.
The point is, start small, be consistent, and most importantly, enjoy the process.
Absolutely.
It's all about finding those little wins that keep you motivated and make you feel like you're actually making progress.
Total.
And remember, every step you take, no matter how tiny, brings you closer to your language goals.
You got this.
We believe in you.
Yeah.
You have the power to unlock a world of understanding and connection through the simple act of listening.
It's true.
So, keep those ears open, those minds engaged, and embrace the beautiful journey of language learning.
Have fun with it.
Until next time, happy listening.